Hi, hello. I just wanted to come on quickly live today. I'll take off these glasses and talk about a book. Just lately, I've been doing workshops with carers and professionals, and still the subjects that come up the most are around sensory processing, as well as communication. But mostly it stems to sensory overwhelm or underwhelm, whether we're dealing with school, home, play, work, brushing our teeth, bathing, eating, sleeping, getting to sleep, staying asleep, life in all areas. Many parents, carers tell me of their concerns and worries, and how do I understand, how do I get to know what areas of sensory overwhelm there are for my kids and young adults. You know, it's a complex situation, and you know, many of the children, when they're really young, they really struggle to even understand why they're feeling the way they're feeling, let alone explaining it. They're too busy experiencing it on such a deep level and an emotional level that they haven't got room to even begin to even ask why or understand why. They're just consumed by the experiences. And when we're talking about busy environments and demanding environments, such as school and nursery and some home environments and just being out in the world, then you're talking about extreme overwhelm to the point where functioning becomes impossible. Behaviours become a way of doing everything they can to reduce the overwhelm that they are experiencing, and that can be different for every person. So just some examples of that can be, you know, running away, leaving a classroom, shouting, screaming, hitting out, shutting down, becoming mute and going silent, dysregulated in a multitude of ways. It's not a one size fits all. It's a individual experience. So to write a book about sensory processing with autistic people in mind and ADHD, the book would be 1 trillion pages and impossible to read. So I created a book with a multitude of supports on a practical level. It's not scientific, it's a practical book, a reference book really, of the different senses in our bodies, as well as stimming and routines and repetition and executive functioning, and the need for these things and the reasons, some of the many reasons, obviously not all the reasons, because I haven't spoken to every single autistic person on the planet. Although I've spoken to many, I definitely haven't spoken to all of them. So this is just like a summary really of an easy read. It looks big and thick, but it's got extra big print to make it nice and easy for the reader, the busy reader. Paragraphs are separated to make it easier. It's a book you can read. You don't have to read it from start to finish. So if you feel that auditory sensory issues are for your child, then you can just go to that section, and vice versa. It's set out in a way that is, you're not reading a novel, you're picking up something where you can reference something and then look at the list of things and go, oh my God, that could be my child. That could be why they're doing that or they're communicating that. It helps professionals as well. I know lots of professionals now who have got my book and they put it in their bag when they go on home visits or in the classroom, and they use it as a reference book, as a guidance system, just to get their mind focused on the actual concern or solution rather than just looking at a behaviour and wondering how we can stop the behaviour, finding the reason behind the behaviour as best you can so that that child or young adult has an equal chance and opportunity to learn and thrive and form relationships, and for others to see their full personalities rather than a hyper stressed, overwhelmed, scared, anxious person. You know, many parents, including myself, would often say that nobody ever really gets to see my child when they're happy and enjoying life, because they're in such demanding environments where they are always overwhelmed. And, you know, any human being on the planet, we all have good days, we all have bad days. And when we're stressed and overwhelmed or emotionally spent and extremely upset or not feeling very well, you never see that person at their best. You just see them where they are. And the truth of the matter is that many of our children and young people are always in a state of overwhelm. So their central nervous system is in constant fight, flight, or freeze mode. And that is extreme. That is the equivalent to often, you know, literally being chased by a lion or having a near-death experience. And as over the top as that might sound, when you're dealing with sensory overwhelm and you're dealing with more than one because you're in a really busy environment, such as school or nursery and even home life, you know, through nobody's fault. This isn't about blame or blaming anyone. This is just facts of the lives we live and the education systems that we have currently. You know, the demands are high on everybody, and it is our children who are suffering. And it doesn't have to be that way. You know, there are ways that we can improve so much within our systems, so that all children can thrive in such places and in life itself. You know, being autistic, having ADHD doesn't mean that your life has to be less than. Yes, there are challenges. Yes, there are differences. Yes, there are areas in which make other things more difficult, but not impossible. And this is another reason why I wrote my book. You know, I was a nursery nurse. I worked with children for many, many years in all kinds of settings and family support. And as my son grew and I with my inquiring mind, began, looking into autism directly from other autistic people. I read many a book, and really I realised I needed to get this information from autistic people themselves. And so my knowledge has come from my own experiences for myself, my sons, and many other autistic and ADHD children and adults from all over the world, and compiled this piece of information. So because I've just come off the back of doing quite a lot of workshops, and it just reminded me again just how sensory processing is spoken about, but it's still not really fully understood. Occupational therapists are excellent allies in sensory processing. They really, really are. And if you can get a sensory assessment for your children, your child, then I would highly recommend it, because it answers not all, but a lot of questions. And it gives a really, really helpful and supportive platform on which you can begin to actually create an environments for our children where they are thriving in life, where their personalities can be seen and they can begin to enjoy life just like their neurotypical friends and peers. That was my aim. That is still my aim. It's available everywhere, really, and you can get it in an ebook for a couple of quid, or you can get it on paperback, or it can be It can be read out by a robot these days. It doesn't even have to be an audio book anymore. So I've come back on because from the workshops that I've been doing and the feedback that I get, I just know that it's helping. I know that it's giving parents, carers and professionals a little bit of moments where tweaks in their environment are being made that make such a difference to all areas of our children's lives. Learning the language of autism through the senses, I've titled it because I do believe it is about learning a new language. You know, we all speak a language of our own. We all have our own mannerisms and our own ways of expressing and processing and receiving information from the world. It's, you know, our autistic children and adults and ADHD sensitive people process this the same as us, the same as neurotypical people do, but enhanced. The volume is up, the sound is higher, the colours are more extreme, the rate at which this information comes in, the expansion of which the information that we receive is more, faster, bigger, and it affects every single part of our bodies. It affects our emotional regulation and our emotional inputs and outputs. It affects our central nervous system, which therefore affects everything in our lives, from our tummies, our stomachs, to our minds. You know, and over a period of time, you know, when you are running and your adrenals are running on, like you're running for your life to be safe, eventually you will burn out. And this is what we're seeing. We're seeing many, many children burning out, younger and younger and younger. And parents are feeling wretched and worried and concerned, and teachers and professionals see it also. We're all in it together. We all want the best for our people and our children, yet sometimes we struggle to figure out how we can do that. By working together, by communicating, by supporting each other, by observing our children rather than jumping in and thinking we have to act from a behavioural perspective and stopping certain behaviours from happening just because. We always need to find out why. The why, the why, the why. How can we help this person? How can we reduce their environment so that they can no longer experience these extreme stresses that they are going through on a daily basis? So I could go on and on and on and on forever about this subject, but I won't. I'll stop. And thank you so much for watching, and I hope that it's been helpful to people. Bless you all, and if you want to contact me, I'm available on Facebook. Belle Berroway, or Daslius is the name of my business. Daslius Learning the Language of Autism, and Instagram. I'm everywhere. Belle Berroway. Just send me a message, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions or offer any kind of support that I can. And share with me, you know, your knowledge, because, like I said, we're all in this together, and any information that anyone has got that can help others is greatly appreciated. Thanks.